talk on networking, international networking. We have little overshot our time, so we have to restrict the questioning time. But if you have any questions, please, this is the time for it. You may ask any questions to anyone. Yes, please. Have you got a...
Wadud, I am from Bangladesh. I would just like to firstly thank the presenters, the Chief of the Intelligence and Colonel Saleh, for giving us a very clear picture. I was wondering in my mind, sir, you had been involved with the intelligence for long. Did you have all this intelligence as it evaluated over the time? And what were the constraints to tackle the situation that was on the ground right at the moment when it happened? The intelligence flow at all time, you had, did you have all these informations, and what was the hindrance to take appropriate action at that time?
Suresh, would like to take that on? Yeah, the question is that we have given all this information, whether you had it right throughout. Am I right? Yeah.
Yes, as my General Hindavitarna said, my boss, because we had, but we couldn't able to discuss this openly. So this is the forum that it came to, given us the opportunity to talk freely to a certain extent what the type of LTT network that was operating in the overseas. Having said that, I should say that we had all this information. We have shared this with best of our knowledge with the respective parties concerned. And some, of course, that has resulted, some of the countries action, and some, of course, still yet to take action.
Yes, please, General Mehta.
Thank you very much. It's most enlightening revelations about the LTT International Network. Now, my question is a little more down to earth. This relates to what is the assessment, national intelligence assessment of any sleeper cells within Sri Lanka. Why I ask this question, and also if I may extend this, what is your assessment about what is left in India, particularly Tamil Nadu? Because we frequently read in India that some statements emanating from Sri Lanka about LTT, residual activities in Tamil Nadu. Lastly, if I may, not long ago, one of the Sri Lankan government ministers, I think about 18 months ago, there was some, in fact the Prime Minister, and he mentioned that there were some 50 to 70 suicide bombers prowling in Colombo. Now, how much of this is fact and how much of this is fiction?
I think firstly, the LTT cadres operating in India, basically what happened was just before the conclusion of the operation, certain cadres were allowed to go out of the country, and it was purposely done. And they never thought that this will come to an end. I'm talking of about 6-8 months before the conclusion of the operation. And what the route that they took was to the easiest way to India. So, and from there, certain cadres had gone to other countries. So, as you said, it's a group at large still, not on the offensive side, but they are just as sleeping in various countries. As well as, there may be some cadres which have not come to our attention operating in Sri Lanka also, but they are harmless now. We know they cannot do anything. But every effort is being made by, as the other speaker said, from various countries, like the organizers now, what they are trying to do is to regroup these people. So that's what our concern is. Now about the second question is that the 50 suicide cadres in Colombo, Not to our knowledge.
Are you
Is that the answer
satisfied?
to your question?
That's that answer. Are you okay with that answer? Genoveva.
I didn't get what he said.
You did hear what he said. Okay, go ahead. Please repeat. Louder.
So you asked about 50 suicide cadres operating in Colombo.
This was about, I said, about 18 months ago, soon after the operations were over, say September, October of 2009.
I don't know about 50 numbers, but there were some suicide cadres whom we have arrested. We have a few numbers.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions?
Your Honor.
Yes, please, Rohan.
Thank you very much. I think this panel was particularly productive because the LTT has been dismantled in Sri Lanka, but the LTT network that supported and sustained the war effort, the capabilities of the LTT is still very much intact. The damage to the international network has been very small. What is your assessment as to how the international, the LTT will evolve in the immediate, mid and in the long term? And my second question is, what should be the strategy of the Sri Lankan government working with to dismantle that network?
First, to answer to your first question, we know quite a number of important cadres are operating in various countries, as I said before also. And there are important people, like for an example, then as Suresh, Colonel Saleh mentioned, Nediyavan, who is very hardliner, who's taking the hard line, and he's working with GTF and with Father Emmanuel, and what they are trying to do is again creating problems for the people living in Wani. And these people living in Wani don't want any separate state or what do you call it, Elam, or they want to live in peace. So these are the people who have recently gone, and the LTT remnants are the people who want to create these problems again for their for their sustenance in those countries. So if they create only some problems, only that they can live in those countries. Most of these people have asked for asylum. So if the country is free of everything, so come back. So that is why that they are creating these problems. I think we have to take up these with foreign governments. We have to work closely, share intelligence wherever possible, and there shouldn't be any breakups in between. I think what is most important is to take exchange of intelligence, more appropriate action to make aware those countries, the governments, and if possible to, I don't know what action they can take, but we have done with quite a number of countries. We have brought to the notice of those countries, and as a part of it, certain countries have taken measures to arrest certain people who have taken money, and this has become a real menace for the Tamil diaspora also, as they forcibly took money and all that. So now they are on the verge of being arrested also.
Yes, please. Yeah. This probably will be the last question because we are time.
Thank you for that very graphic and helpful description. But I was wondering if this intelligence is available, and I'm sure other countries also have this. What is the rationale for some countries both dealing and asking us to deal with entities like the GTF or the TGTE? Because I think from what you've said, no one could fail to understand that these are continuations of a terrorist movement which has been engaged in forcibly collecting money from the vast majority of the diaspora who are not interested. I think you mentioned the figures of those who had voted for the TGTE. So what exactly lies behind the actions of people like David Miliband, who, attends the meetings of these? Joan Ryan, I suppose I can understand, but also encouraging us as the British Foreign Office did to talk to the TGT, when surely it is our role to talk with democracy. The one thing I missed, General Hendavithana, in your excellent presentation was a failure to describe the complete refusal of the LTT to take part in elections. Even when we tried to have a democratic vote, their refusal to do anything, and comparing that with perhaps other Tamil entities that within Sri Lanka are at least willing to address themselves to the people. So what explains the attitude of some foreign countries to seem to perpetuate terrorism when democratic alternatives are available?
So I think there are certain things we cannot discuss openly. Because this has to be, when the countries are involved in, I think this has to be done bilateral or discussions at bilateral level. I think my answer is that, sir.
There's a time for one more question if there just one. Okay, no questions. Thank you very much indeed. I think the intelligence is one of the most important aspects for counter-revolutionary warfare. And our intelligence corps has done a wonderful job. I'm personally aware of that. And they have always provided timely intelligence for the other troops to react and take on the terrorists. Sometimes, most of the time, they don't get much credit because they do it behind the scene. I think I must appreciate this and commend that our intelligence people have done a wonderful job. And they have always provided good intelligence, accurate and timely intelligence. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was a very productive session. Thank you very much, sir. But productivity consumes energy.